Hello, welcome to another edition of Recollection Tapes with Ronkay. My name is Ronkay, and I have with me today one of the foremost producers in the Afrobeat culture, none other than K Solo. What's up, my brother?
It's nice.
How's it going, man?
It's nice being here. Anything for the culture. I'm in it.
Man, I'm so happy to have you here, man.
I'm happy too.
Because I remember back in the days, those hits, and the only thing you want to hear is K Solo on the beat, bro. So today we just want to know, we want to have an understanding behind the scenes, what goes on with you. You know, the very first one that took Nigeria by the storm is Dem Mama by Timaya. But I know you've done a lot of jobs, maybe we're not credited for, but for that one, can you please just tell us a little bit what goes on behind the scene for the creative process of getting Dem Mama out there?
Okay, I'll probably just want to give a quick summary on how we actually even met.
Okay.
You know, there was a talent hunt in Port Harcourt.
Okay.
Called Street to Stars.
Okay.
Street to Stars is owned by Elda Dokubo.
Okay.
The veteran Dokubo, actress, you know, right. And she invited Sound Sultan of best memory.
Oh.
You know, Sound Sultan, we close and all that, you know, and one day, you know, I asked me, okay, Kolo, Afa, what do they do now? Me go Port Harcourt, you know?
Yeah.
And we went to Port Harcourt. So it was me, Sound Sultan, and Basoj Jr. You know, that were the MCs, no, not MCs, George,
okay.
You know, so Timaya was one of the contestants and all that. So let me move forward. He pushed to when he got to the finals. So at the finals, he lost his voice.
Wow.
You know, and definitely, you know, that's a zero. You should understand, you can't win once you lost your voice. That's true. So he lost his voice, and Pastor spoke to me and said, okay, so what can we do for this guy? I think he's good. And I said, yes, I can see that he's good. You know, but me, that's what don't carry me come here. And I know if you just, you know, I don't get into how to help him now, you know. So Pastor said to me that period and said, you know what, I'll make him live in my house. You will produce him. I know, and then we also need a studio. So he said, I'll speak to a friend of mine. Who was the friend that time was Daniel Wilson.
Wow.
You understand? So Daniel Wilson was the owner of that studio that I did Dem Mama, Skeletal. You know, there was a night that when I finished the beat, he voiced that night and he was sleeping in the studio.
Okay, so the first thing you did was the beat.
Yes, I made the beat, you know. And the beat was actually Skeletal then, you know. I was hoping that we'll continue the next day because he was actually very tired. He came from Port Harcourt that night. Now, that night, there was a conversation that was going behind the scene on his career and all that.
Okay.
And that was my biggest fear that gave me another light to the industry. Like, okay, this industry is actually big and you can make a lot of money from it. But why are they deliberating on how to reap him? Why not more about how you can get into the stardom and make money from it? So I had a different picture about the industry.
I need to understand that. Who was talking about, who are they trying to rape? I need to understand.
You know when team of group of people sit together and they're talking about somebody's career.
Yeah.
And okay, you will do this, and if you do this one, so that you know go get this kind of thing, so you go feel remain under our, you know.
Wow.
You know, so, and I didn't know the music business at that time. I didn't know if that was it runs or works.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really happy with it, and I felt like this one is like a major one that I want to do solely all by myself, and this is still part of this. The next day when I woke up, the first thing I remember I will never forget is the fact that I found out that a lot of rich men in Nigeria, maybe everywhere in the world, they don't sleep. They don't sleep at night.
No, they don't.
I think their morning starts from 4 p.m. That's when they wake up from bed, and the day starts for them like 6 p.m.
And when everybody is sleeping, they are working.
They are working, and they are extremely active. Like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., they are very active. Why a lot of us are snoring, you know. So I need to understand how it works, you know. It was those period of time that this conversation was going down, and the boy was in the studio now sleeping. So the next day I told him, I feel the type of way about this. I did these songs. I'm gonna keep the data with me. I need you to go back to Port Harcourt because I must promise you that you can't continue here. You don't go like him. He believed in me and said, okay, so if you say so, bam.
Wow.
And he left for PH back, and I went and I gave him a promise that I was going to press to make sure that I own my own studio. And at that time I was working with him. I was by the side working with Paul Play. I don't want to get into that one, but I'm still going to get to that,
Okay.
So to end the whole long story short, I was supposed to be doing a project for Sonny Neji that period at Paul Play Studio, and I called Sonny, I beg, can you give me money for my production? The production that we've not started, and I said, I want to set up stuff for myself, and I don't think I want to work at Paul Studio anymore because I'm not really feeling the vibes. Especially, maybe I shouldn't say this, but his wife then, takes the charge of his studio, and a lot of frictions that always happening in the management and all that. There to a point that one of the managers called me one day and said, let me tell you one thing today, you need to know. Nobody works with Paul Play and makes money. Yeah. You need to only thing you can gather from here is knowledge and experiences.
Wow.
And that was what I faced all through. Now, back to Timaya. Then Sonny gave me that money that year. Yeah. I went to Computer Village, I won't forget, and I got a Pentium 4. Set up in my living room with then church
I
boy.
I remember that story. I was there.
then church boy. I had the opportunity to have access to my church microphones. So on Sunday after church service, I go with that SM58 microphone, take it home. So that SM58 has been a very old mic, that Shure mic.
Sure.
So I take it home and I use it to record through the weekend. Then Saturday, I get back to church because we're going to use it on Sunday. I recorded that Timaya's album with that SM58. And that was how his career was bettered. Now, let me go to that song that actually broke him, Dem Mama.
Dem Mama.
At that period, there was actually issue in Bayelsa, where he is from.
Yes.
But he just lives in Port Harcourt and lives in Lagos. He moves both parts together. There was an issue that went down there that the president at that time was Obasanjo.
Yes.
And he cleared his hometown, which is ODI. That's where he comes from. And there was this massacre in the OD that cleared both mother, children, and all that. So he felt a type of way about it, and he said he wanted to make this song actually go. And I said, this song might cause a little controversy, but the point is we can find a way to make it what people can still dance to and vibe to as a victory song, and still sing the melody of the song into people, whereby you feel that pain, but something is moving you. So it was a two-way thing. So it gave me a lot of hard works to be able to think like, okay, when they said, they don't kill it, Dem Mama, Dem Mama, Dem Mama, there was a lot of backups in it. I did all the old backups. I did the choruses, the background voice, that they don't kill it, Dem Mama, Dem Papa, Dem Mama, so all that we had to add to it, so to pass that's emotion.
It was really very emotional.
You get so, and we did it. And when the song was ready, I won't forget. I called Olisa. I said I have a new boy that I'm working on, and I need to put the song on. I feel the song is gonna go big. And he said, okay, send the song, and he got the song. And I think 2 or 3 days after, I said, hey, our station is big. It's just new. We don't play this kind of music. Olisa drops his accents now. And he said these songs can't fly. Instantly I went back to my drawing board and I said, you know what? I need to go to where people who can relate with this. And I looked at it, the people that can relate with this are the people on the mainland. When I mean mainland, I mean pure mainland. And mainland I mean is I went back to the drawing board and I said this song I was going to spread on the mainland. And I called a friend of mine then, his name is DJ Bombastic.
Yeah.
So when I called Bombastic, I said, Bombastic, you know what? I have a song, play this song, come and listen to it. He came to the studio to listen to it. That day, he picked that song. He was the first person in the whole world that played Timaya's song on radio, that particular song on radio. And he slammed it and he started picking bam, 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 bam. Alaba jumped on it and it was on every mixtape. The Mama mixtape flooded the whole of Alaba. People started calling me, are you sure you live in Lagos? Like, this guy is a Port Harcourt, but I can come from Port Harcourt come to Lagos and dominate Lagos and become #1 artist to reckon with. I'm like, yo, this is music, universal language, and we can make it work. So there's a part of me that a lot of people do not know, which is the fact that I create, and when you know what you carry, most times you don't struggle. you know, and that's what has kept me over the years. And I look at it like, okay, there's nowhere you're coming from. I cannot penetrate into your market. So I penetrated with Timaya into Lagos, and it became a big. Now the only problem we had at the time was, you know, it wasn't an internet global time then. The new age media was not even in place.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so we really had Twitter and Facebook. It was hard, you know, but we're able to screw it in with Facebook to a point. But at the end of the day, we got that hit, and it became a massive.
It was massive. Dem Mama was one of the biggest songs.
Massive
at that time.
Yeah, we did that massive song, you know. Then we did second album, third album, fourth album before we stopped working.
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
So a lot of people do not know that, you know, even at the time he started working on some other tracks with people, he would still send it to me to approve. What do you feel about it? And I listen to him.
So you guys never had like an agreement?
We never had an agreement.
It was just a producer.
That's what I'm saying.
Artist relationship.
There was not even a producer agreement.
It's just a relationship.
It was just a relationship. You know, so that was why I was saying that I later got to know that there are different vibes to this industry. There are things you need to know about the music business. I didn't know what music business was.
Music business.
I was just love for it. Like, okay,
let's do this.
I understand this music. I studied music, and I understand, as in I learn music. I when a song is trending or everywhere, I sit down and dialogue. What makes this song in everybody's ears? So it grew me to the point I began to realize I need to understand there was a difference between beat makers and hit makers. A lot of beat makers and low and less hit makers. That's the reason why you see so many songs on the airwaves and few.
So there is an element that makes a song to become a hit. You need to understand it to be able to incorporate into whatever it is you are producing.
So many sounds outside there, but few hits. So few people that actually understand that legacy or that niche of knowing it is someone like OJB. OJB would not play so much instrument in the song, but when the song drops,
rest in peace to OJB.
You know, so when you hear, you know, it was African Queen that was coming in. You know, so people wonder like, how can that song became a problem, and
it was a problem.
You know, so but there was something that drives it. That first guitar was the drive that took that song all through.
I don't even want to hear any other thing.
Once you hear that beginning, you know. That's the reason why everybody was trying to remake it, remix it.
And it doesn't sound. It doesn't sound exactly the same.
If you don't return that guitar to it, it does not.
It's nothing.
You know, so it's just like that. So that was the process along on how I went through on this song on Timaya. And another problem I had with Timaya when I was recording him was because, you know, he did not grow to a point that he could sing with an head can, you know, always missing the timing at that time. So when a lot of people see Timaya and I smile, the smile that I smile is the fact that you guys did not know what this guy went through in my hand. I showed him fire. I showed him a whole hell, you know. So, and he would never throw away the fact that his foundation was built around me, you know. So I screwed him into understanding the vibes and the rudiments of music. That was what actually took him through this process.
And now
I can tell people that maybe when in the process of doing good music, I always believe that there's God. I don't throw away the God factor from everything I do. Only when God is ready to shut Timaya down. But if he's not ready to shut him down yet, Timaya is going to be in a lot of people's faces for a very long time.
Continue to be in our faces. It will continue to be in our faces.
It's going to be in a lot of people's faces
for a
very long time.
And it's been giving us hits and hits back to back for decades.
You know. But the only thing I probably would just want to advise a little him and other ones too is it's not a crime to take a bow, like take a break. It helps you re-energize your brain. It gives you an opportunity to go to, in my few times that I took a break, it helped my sound, and it really benefited from it because, in the real sense of it, I went areas like Tanzania, I was in Kenya, I went to these francophones.
Okay, the francophone
countries, their sounds is different.
Oh, yeah.
So when you consume that sound, it gives you another fresh idea of how sweet music is.
Yeah.
Wow, you can infuse it into your sound, and they call Nigerians that we ranzeros a lot, you know. But, you know, in the real sense of it, we are blessed, and that's the reason why you can sound like that.
Yeah.
You know, a Nigerian will sing beside R. Kelly, and R. Kelly will like, wow.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And it looks at you like actually very black. You're not even breed like half white, half black. You're actually a full-blown African man. Can I ask you a question? Is your father from New York or mother from Canada? But
No, sorry.
you are not of any of it, and you can produce this. You know, so it's a major one that God has given blessings to Nigeria.
Man, that's fantastic, man. That's fantastic story, man.
That's little I want to say.
There's another one I would like to ask you about. There's this song at another time, one of the songs you did some time ago, which was Klever Jay, Paul Dairo,
and Connie Love.
And Connie Love. Those two songs created massive attention at that time. So can you also tell us the story? I think Connie Love was the first one.
Yes.
So can you tell us the creative story behind it?
Klever Jay is actually another star that I used as a test. Just the same way I used Timaya as a test. You know, people did at the time Timaya came, it was hip hop that was locking the industry.
Yeah.
And the time Timaya came, it was R&B hip hop. You know,
Is it Timaya?
I'm just touching on him.
Okay.
You know, so the experiment I did with Timaya was, I forgot to say, at the point when I go to the club, I found that when it gets to like 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m., the club goes down.
Okay.
The DJ has already exhausted playing all the foreign sounds. You know? And in the middle of it, what's happening? People will be going out, coming in, you know, because they're not feeling the vibe in the clubs again. And suddenly, you see a DJ will just slam, a big game, as in, you know, the club that is sleeping will just go from 0 to 100. Bah. That Awilo Logomba. And in my head, maybe today I'll probably say it for the first time. That was where I actually brought the idea of what crafted the niche for Timaya's sound.
That's
Makosa.
that Makosa sound.
Go and listen to it now. And don't get that's it. That's where it came from. That's where all his major idea. Even from then, call me Timaya, just to come get Timaya. You know, so I that was where it was from. So I did a little twist in it. At the time, Nigerians have not woken up to reggaeton.
That's true.
But R. Kelly introduced us to it, gave us the sweet version of it on Burning Up.
Yeah.
So in my head, I just looked at it like someone that can do a Chocolate Factory album, and the next minute he's doing reggaeton. But you know, so in my head, I'm like, okay. So I knew that, and don't forget, they call me a name. Then a name they thought they were using to actually bully me. Then they call me noisemaker. That, you know, when everywhere is sleeping, once you put Kisso's production, everywhere will scatter.
That's true.
But they didn't know that because everywhere was sleeping, was dull, somebody has to do something different. Some few days ago, I watched a clip of I forgot the name, it's Fletterman or something, on a Warri show that they did a Warri show that Pinnick did, the former football NFA president did in Warri, and they brought a guy called, he's an old artist, Fletterman.
Right, Fletterman.
And I heard that song.
Fletterman, it was produced by Nancy Brown, right?
I think so, something. You know, what's his name? Papa God don't tell us if we go do now our destiny make you know think you know.
Yeah.
That song was a big song at that time. And when they sang it that day, just a few months ago, the crowd was all on their feet.
Wow.
And before that time, Spyro just finished singing, and it was just, you know, they didn't even stand up. That's the truth. But when Fletterman that a lot of Gen Z do not know.
1990 something.
1992. That no Gen Z actually know him. But you see, when the song started, everybody were on their feet. So I don't know the reason why. See, a lot of Nigeria need to work on their ideology, especially the OAPs need to help us as well. Can understand that a lot of Poverty is part of it. They might not want to accept this, but poverty is part of it. And that's the reason why a lot of them is switching. As much as you're welcoming a new sound, don't throw away the old sound. And that's the reason why we can listen to
You can modify.
That's why we're listening to a Lionel Richie today. It's not written off. But we keep writing off our old people, as in what we can live and call our nostalgia sounds, our retro sounds. You are facing it out. Those sounds should be, and that's
interestingly, that's what's actually happening now around the world.
Yeah, so we should try as much as to make a room for them too, whereby it must not always be rice or jollof rice. You can try coconut rice.
Absolutely.
You get so let there be varieties. You're stereotyping the industry and it's making it very boring nowadays. Radios is not sweet again. When the OAP will play on his show, on his bell to play 10 songs.
Almost all
the same thing. You know, it's the same thing. And that's the reason why there's a war of intellectual properties flying more now. Because the producers are making it worse. They are very lazy too. They cannot even sample new sounds. Producers cannot play keyboards again.
Maybe they don't want to.
Bro, producers cannot play keyboards and call themselves producers. Go learn these basic things. It's going to help you at the long run. You understand? It's for your own benefit. You get? It's like, how do I call it? I don't want to go into visuals. Let me just stick my music. You get? So, you sample guitar from Tony Montana. You sample this from Lionel Richie. You sample that from Brenda. You know, a whole lot you put in the music and you say you're producer. Please, cut all that off.
Create new samples yourself. Yeah, I feel you.
Those things were created by somebody. Create it. And the problem is when you want to do everything, call guitarists. I'm happy for people like Governor Violinists that plays violin in. You see, immediately violin got introduced into the new sound. It gave someone like Sheyi vibes a different vibe. It gave someone like Ashake a new sound. After the fact it was a piano, you understand?
Yeah.
Which we also ran zeros from South Africa. That's our normal way. We ran zeros the same way we got from Ghana too. We ran zeros anything in Nigeria. But as much as you ran zeros in, you can actually make it broad.
Yeah.
You can make it sweeter. So look at Ashake. The violin introduced his music, made it unique and different. So you can as well add all these things to your music. So now, what I'm trying to say in essence is, we should not write off these old sounds. They have good sound value they bring on the table.
I agree with you there.
So that is another issue that I feel the OAP should work on. I don't need to tell them, we can't tell them, I can't force them, but they need to understand that they own a major and vital play in the industry. The day OAPs knows that they are not slaves to Nigerian artists, they better for them. A lot of OAPs in Nigeria see themselves as slaves to the Nigerian artists. They get overwhelmed by the fame too. And a lot of OAPs have become errand boys for Nigerian artists, which is wrong. You need to break this music. No matter how much the value of the social media, the new age media is flying, you can't beat terrestrial promotions. You can't beat terrestrial push. If you go to Yankee to do your promotion, there are timelines, there are books. You must go to radio.
Radio is very important.
You must go to radio.
Yeah.
You must do newspaper publications.
Absolutely.
You must grant interviews.
That's
but
right.
Nigerians are beginning to sort this thing out because they don't the internet is this. Oh, I put everything on the internet. Internet is flash, mirage. You can't hold it. And if you come by it, you go by it. A lot of people is the reason why they are going to fall into depression. A lot of you just come and one time it, bam, it's the internet. And go back. You can find them again. And I wonder what went down. Because you don't have a foundation. The foundation that you need to build that will keep you, that has kept people like Timaya and the rest of them is, I did 1 million interviews for them. I put them on every interviews. I literally go to his house and pick, let's go to TV. I would literally call, what they call them, journalists. You know, there was a time a lot of bad press was flying on Timaya about his girlfriend and all that. So we went to work extra to kill it. You know, we were working. You know, so we had to fight that. And in the process of this, we're working with the media. And media, I mean journalists.
Yeah.
So how on earth would you want to drop the pressure of who they are and feel everything is going to be on social media? No disregard to social media. It helps you to be seen faster.
But everything has to be incorporated.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, when you're not on top, when you're not busting on that social media, you see those terrestrial will be the one that will carry you. Those are the ones that will keep you on the top of your game. It's a terrestrial that makes a lot of new boy producers to still know me. Imagine I was just all about social media and all that. I have to do that with the fame. It's the reason why they can talk about Timaya. Some few days ago, a comedian did a whole long story for Casey, showing how Casey has started. And I was saying that Oxlade, I hope you are not deceiving yourself and thinking that you and
I'm on the same level.
Casey are on the same level, even age-wise. I hope you know that Casey is older brother to Imoni. He's not Imoni's junior brother, he's Imoni's senior brother. I hope you know that. And that's to tell you how old he is. And look at how he has started. He has been shooting in PJs. Before you guys were good. A lot of them most of them have not given birth to them. Some of them have not even started, they are still in primary school. When Casey Fresh has been shooting videos in PJs. You know? So, but it's active. So in the process of this, I love this industry so much. And I always say, I wish I can do any other thing extra, you know, but I found myself here and this is what I do. So I just want to use this little medium to appeal to OAPs. Put a rep to your name. Respect your name. Respect that brand. You guys if you don't break it, nobody listens to it. Note that. And you need to win yourself back. It's understandable that you know there's a lot of money on the new age media with the social media. But in the real sense of it, you cannot downgrade some set of people that you know that are like, you know, the brand CNN, they are attached to the brand CNN. You get? You know, when you look at Sound City, it's attached to the brand Derele, VJ Adams. You can't throw them behind. Those people actually did not start up social media. You get? So you carry a lot of value. You need to keep that value and make sure radio is sweet for us to listen. But there's a time that nobody cared about MP3 player, DJ Mix. DJ Mix only works in party.
That's right.
But we enjoy playing radios. But else now, trust me, nobody listens to the radio again. I must tell you for free, nobody listens to radio again. Only the rurals. And that's to tell you, I don't want to say this, I don't want to go political, but in the real sense of it, I always say to people that Peter Obi actually finished the internet, the social media spheres. But you know what? There was one little high edge that Jagaban had, and that was the terrestrial, which is the local. The local keeps you at the long run when you're not bossing on the social media anymore. So don't throw it away. So let me now go to my second discovery, which was
let's go to Connie Love.
Just Connie Love. You know, at the time, somebody brought Klever Jay to me and said, "Bro, I need to help me help this boy. I like him and all that. He can sing." But when I listened to him, he had this touch of Fuji in it. That made me look like, okay, so are you ready to face this one again? You are just growing from the Timaya era, and this one, Timaya was even at the top of his game then, you know. And I said, okay, let me do this. What actually drew me to him, which I'm going to pinpoint in this, is the attitude. Which I want to hold again, like, you know. There's one saying, or there's a book that I need few people to read that actually celebrities or artists, which says talent is not enough.
Talent is never enough. I agree.
Talent is not
never enough.
As I be sing, I have all the old dynamics. I can do everything. It's never enough. What keeps you at the long run?
It's attitude.
Your attitude. Your attitude keeps you at the long run. No matter how much people are applauding you and saying, we are this FC, we are this Davido team, we are this Bonner team. No matter how much they carry it from now, you can never tell me that they will boss forever. They will never be number one forever.
That's true.
So, but what keeps them to, at the end of the day, is their attitude, their characters, things they're able to do. You know, so Klever Jay had a very good character. And he does still. And at the time he would resume to the studio, I will have clients, I had a mini studio. Don't forget I told about that studio that I set up, He will have to stay outside. There was a day I met him standing just beside the rain, just for a client to see. He actually talks to me a type of way, and I'm like, this guy, I'm going to do anything to make sure he's being heard. So I started pushing. Okay, no. Then I did for me a few interviews with him. I haven't been doing stuff. He played me a few songs he had done. Okay, they were not bad songs, but in the real sense of it, they are not what I can market for where I want to see him. So I picked one of his old songs, Connie Connie Love. He did that Connie Connie Love that time with Danny Young. They were best of friends, underdogs. So I picked that song, and I told myself that this song, as at that time, I already was imprinting that sound, dancehall, reggaeton into Nigerian music industry. I'm the one that started it. Like, when you talk of dancehall in Nigerian industry, I was when I started the production called what they call dancehall in Nigerian industry. There was never a dancehall in our industry. So I started implanting that sound, and I know that this is becoming like a brand that people are beginning to get to associate with me. And plus the fact that we just needed a variety.
Yeah,
we had hip hop boiling, we had R&B boiling, we had pop boiling, but there was no other song that we could dance to. Any other song we could dance to then used to be juju music, Fuji music, but we needed something contemporary. That we can dance to, that you could not call a local sound. So that was where dancehall came in for me and for Nigeria industry.
With a little twist.
So I did that song and I created a beat for it in less than 20 minutes.
Wow.
Yes. And when I created it, I took vocals from his old song, I laced it on it, and I saw it sounded. I called him, come to the studio. Should I shock you? Danny Young's part, I didn't even think Danny Young read. Danny Young did not revoice.
It was the same old one.
Old vocals I picked.
Wow.
Then there was one young boy that I used to see in a bar around my area at that time. His name is Prince Banton. Prince Banton will go to the bar, he will be freestyling, people will be giving him money. I've met him so few times, and I see that I think it has been part of his culture in a way he used to make money. And people liked him, Prince Banton sit down and they buy him beers and all that.
Come and sing for
us.
And
this boy he met me and was like, Baba, anything, I'll follow you home. This is, I like, calm down. He didn't even have a phone. So I called the owner of the bar. Is this guy there? He said yes. And it was around 6:30 to 7. Give him my address and he came.
Wow.
Another problem with him is because I think I was the first person that was bringing him to the studio for the first time in his life. He has never entered the studio before to record. And imagine somebody from the street, from the bar, straight to the studio. And he could not even use, I was literally playing a booming speaker to record him.
Wow.
I went through hell.
Wow.
Because he could not sing with the headphone. He would be going offbeat. And when you get him out of the headphone, when he sings, he goes back on beat.
It's on point.
Because he's used to the regular freestyling and all that. You know? So I had to be fighting him for that. I had to just give it like that. So the song was done already.
Yeah.
I sneaked him into like the end of the music towards the outro. His verse just ended the music. Apparently, it was not the one that was supposed to be on that song, or either Danny Young. It was supposed to be Klever Jay and Timaya.
Wow.
I put him and Timaya in the studio. Oh yeah, walk. I'm coming. So I stepped out. Less than 40 minutes, Klever Jay called me and said, Baba, he has gone. No, he said, I have a head behind it. He's not feeling this thing that I'm sounding like so. And I laughed. And I said, you know what? Don't worry, Yusuf. You can go. That was when I now took those old vocals. I laced it. Danny Young's vocals was able to be laced well. The Baje came out, the voiced his own, and then Prince Banton jumped on it. And that's how Connie Connie Love, I got it.
And all of a sudden,
the next move, the same line I used in pushing Timaya, the same map again.
You called boom again.
It was boom again.
You called bombastic again.
Boom was the one that broke it again. You know? And now
shout out to bombastic.
Now it was not boom alone. Apparently the boom was actually even the head of programs then, or the head DJ, I can't remember.
In Star FM.
So the other boy that introduced him to me also works in Star FM, so it became a problem. Star FM was like I paid. It's like I co-owned Star FM for Klever Jay. It was back to back. And that radio was actually one of the biggest on the mainland at the time.
Yes.
And that became a problem whereby we now share through Alaba too, and like that.
Wow.
Now, because I didn't want to make some mistakes, I began to realize that because Talking Love was an old song and I didn't want to sit too much on it, I needed another song for him. We switched into I created that beat, and I created the beat before the song.
Yeah.
And he just getting like, Aba, onele go to Daru.
Are you serious?
And that's why I said it. I said, you see that Igbo to Daru, so that was what we do the chorus.
Wow.
And once that be just a bam, Igbo to Daru. It was like wildfire. Every club we're playing back to back. That time, of blessed memory, that green. He called me, Baba. I beg, can I be on this song?
Wow.
Then we had a version that had an Idris Abdul Karim.
Yeah.
A version that had a dark green.
Wow. But what happened to that green version?
The dark green version was released, but at the point we were almost released period was when dark green died. We actually released it at the end of the day, but it was that period it died.
So before all this one, I remember, because I used to come around Itsville studio. When Paul Play was recording his
The album.
I think it was Itsville, right?
Itsville, yes.
Yeah. You were working seriously there.
Yeah.
And I would just want to know, were you involved in the production? And if you were you credited? I just want to have an understanding.
I really always try and run away from talking about this, because I felt really bad at a particular point. But at the end of the day, I didn't feel bad again, because, that Paul studio actually was a major stepping stone for me. And I've been a fan of Paul's dad. His dad, my dad is his dad's fan. You understand what I'm saying?
Just like all of us, man.
So my dad inflicted his dad's song on me, because my dad used to have a turntable that he plays his song every time.
That's true.
Now being able to grow and now find that he has a son that sings and did a remix of his own one of his songs that I like.
Yeah.
I'm like, I see Paul like a god before I could meet him. Paul was a god. So I was always just wanting to, I didn't know I was ever going to ever work with him or even meet him. And one day somebody called me, I think he's PA or somebody. I know him. His name is Ken Richard.
Oh.
He called me that day, and he knows I know what I do and all that. And I said, well, I beg, I'm tired of this my grassroots. I need a studio where I want to work and all that. And I said, me that I studied music, I can produce. I went for sound reinforcement. I said, anywhere I fit in, just anyone you get, just let me know. He now called me one time and said, just called me one day and said, Muti, don't forget to Paul just came in from UK and just set up a studio in Jologunaki, and he's looking for sound engineer. I don't think he's looking for producer. I know Paul Play produces. I said, sound engineer, Paul Play. My own Paul Play.
Oh yeah, nah.
I said, don't worry. I don't mind just leaving my production on my life on the side. I just want to even mess with Paul.
Yeah.
And on the day he told me was the last day they were doing the auditioning, and they already stopped auditioning. It was around 3:34 p.m. And he said, "This is so. Can you come here in a few hours, in a minute?" I said, "I'm going." And that time we were bike in Lagos now.
Thank God for bikes. Okada.
Bike bought me all the way from I think Magodo or Molly, one of those two, to GRA, Isaac John. When I got there, I won't forget, it was driving an X5 customized Paul Play. And he was seated outside. He's a very down-to-earth person, and I actually learned a whole lot from him. And part of what I learned from him is his realness and his down-to-earth. He has his own bad side that people probably would not
Like
that's their own cup of tea. You understand?
Like every one of us.
But me, I don't see that. Me, I capitalize on what I know you for and I like you for. I don't want to see your flaws, and that's how I live. You know, so I did that with Paul Play. You know, so when I got there, it was outside. I met the manager. The manager said, "Who are you? What do you want?" Is now, you know, street boy looking tattered now. Who are you? What do you want? I got the call from Kenrich. I said, so. I finished too. I've done everything. I feel I've rounded up and everything. I said, but you know, I was just trying to negotiate the P. I'll be the manager. His name is Eric. I think Paul saw me from far. I said, Eric, you go well now. Let him come. In fact, there was no light. He had to do a lot of generator. And behold, the one generator, I was, you know, based on an S-boy. I went to Nigerian military school, you know. Yeah. Based on an S-boy, I know the FSF though, you know. So I was still overwhelmed, but you will not feel really damn for me. Like, boy, will be say, you know, she na gone, won't fear me. Will be say at the end of the day, I won't talk to man, be now go to fear. I just look at it like, come on, let's go into this. And he said, that's the studio, go inside, I'll join you. And I entered the studio. When I entered, I was first shocked. It was big studio. Yeah. There was a Mac here. Yeah. The first time in my entire life
seeing a Mac.
Seeing an iMac. Like, God.
Was it
in Nigeria? Paul Studio was the only studio in Lagos that had an iMac.
That's true.
Pro Tools, you know.
Pro Tools.
You know. And the other side, I saw a PC. I said, Tiwa. And I sat down. And he came in. I said, have you ever worked on a Mac before? I said, I don't know where that years came from. You're looking at the iMac that does not have a button. A mouse that does not have a left or right click. Just something like this. With one tiny ball.
In the middle. Yes.
Saw the keyboard. Small micro keyboard. And everything, the letters are not looking like my normal keyboard. Hey, so you're in trouble. He said, and I said yes. He said, power it on.
Where he wants to know the power, where he did.
As a street boy. Maybe you need to remove my glasses, you can see my face. As a street boy, I just looked at it like, since there's no button here. And before he came in, I already seen that logo, that Apple logo. It's not pressable. It must be behind. As I just say, power it. I just took my tool and went to the back from the top like this. Bam. The last point, I just saw something go in press. I just pressed. Just a pong. I said, okay. Let's go. And that's how I came up. And, you know, he said, okay. Launch the software. Have you used the software before? I said, yes, Reason. Because we had Reason on PC. Yeah. I didn't know the Reason on a Mac was a little different, but, you know, I clicked it. I just said that thing bouncing. Later, it popped up. It was, I think, I was seeing is, okay, because it was a boot. So the reflection, I was seeing that. I think his face is looking a little impressed. You know, I did all that. And, you know, he said, okay. And I looked, he said, okay, that's fine. That means you can record me. You can do that. I said, yes, sir. He said, I think, Erico, go back with it. Cancel one. Go send the body. She didn't go back. I think let him resume tomorrow. Let's start work.
Oh boy.
But by resumption without money, new. Resume tomorrow. I was so happy. I was so happy. You know, and I started hearing that people that come there. No. I entered the studio the next day. He has started some skeleton job on Angel of My Life from his home, and, you know, come and record, you know. And I started recording. At the end, when I started recording, I was doing some few stuffs on his vocals. And like, well, have you done this before? Have you used this? I said, Then he went back and came back inside. He said, no. I think it was the next day. And said, you never told me you're a producer. They told me they not gave all the load, and they said, and like, you know, okay, can we work? That was how the album Eat View started, and I started producing from a whole lot. I can't remember what the track.
So you were part of the production, yes. Not just engineer.
Not from A to Z.
Wow.
You know, I can remember one day after the album was done, because I did a lot of nice section to mix the album, you know, and I think he took the mix and then did the masters in UK. You know, when I remember one time, I think he went to play a show MTA. I saw Ghana Must Go on Money that was brought to our studio that year. It was apparently T. Joe that was the marketer of that album that brought that money.
Jesus.
You know, when the album came out, I didn't even know. I just saw it one day and I had to accost him like, what happened? My name is not on this album. And the next thing I heard was Iyani. That was his wife, that's what they always called her, you know. She did a typo in it. I said typo. I gave up, I didn't say anything.
Wow.
Then I began to feel a type of way from that time. Then there used to be, there's a song, and at that time, you know, Paul and Normalos too, they happen to be friends. I did a song for Normalos too in that same studio called Let Them Say, Let No, Let No. That song was nominated for Eddie's Best Producer. But it was Paul Play that was giving this. The song won Eddie's. It was Paul that was giving.
Wow. Wow.
Maybe I'm saying that for the first time.
Song.
Maybe I'm saying that for the first time on people can see. Yeah, produce it.
Jesus Christ.
You know? So I can remember vividly that day, I picked up my phone when I saw the award on TV. I said, this thing I'm watching, this is my production now. Like, it should even give us hype. Okay, me, I didn't bother because, you know, I'm still rusted in that sirage of Paul Play. Nothing Paul does that gets me upset. You know, but this one, I felt bad about it. How did I feel bad? It was not even the fact that Paul was when I was giving the award. I felt bad because when he collected the award, he would have even said, "Oh, this award is for Playground production." It's a young boy that we worked on this together. His name is Kesolo. Nothing was said. That thing hits me. I picked up my phone that day. I called Alariwo. I called Felix Duke. I called Daniel Wilson. I called so many people that I felt like were close friends to Paul. Like, bro, why would this happen? It's not good now. And then they say, I'll talk to him now and say, don't worry.
And even then, we didn't even know that such things can even be monetized, you know. But now we know that being a producer, you are entitled to have compensation,
you know what I'm saying,
for part of the song creation.
You understand what I'm saying? So I was lost in it and they said they would talk about it and I just looked away in it and I didn't see anything.
Wow.
Paul's place was actually a training ground for me as well. Very well. I went through a lot of bad experiences.
Wow.
You know, but you know, it carved me and made me meet a lot of people that actually see themselves as mighty. Now let me say this again. That was where I actually met Don Jazzy for the first time. Don Jazzy came to do a song for Twin X. Twin X are those twin that has dread that is signed on that big bamboo with Olu Maintain that year.
Yes.
Maybe I shouldn't say this too much. Okay.
Go ahead and say
Don Jazzy was supposed to do a song for them, and the song they were staying too long on it. They were not feeling it. It was staying in long, you know. But in the long run, I took up the job from Don Jazzy. I helped, you know, doing a lot of, you know, reproducing in it. Why those were outside and all that. And in a twinkling of an eye, they came like, what happened? Production changed. That one changed, you know. But at the end of the day, when Don Jazzy was going, he was so happy. And you know, and like, Baba, thanks so much. I'm grateful. I don't really have much there. And he off this wristwatch that day.
Wow.
And said, K-Solo, please have this. As in, I'm grateful for what you did.
Wow.
You just saved my life.
Wow.
You know, I remember it was a polo wristwatch. I gave it to my PA that year. I had it sometimes, my PA then, you know, that year. You know, so there's been a lot of rough times I've been through in the industry that people never knew and we never talked about. So when little things happen and people say you're chasing clout, and I laugh. If we talk, the industry will capsize. But in the real sense of it, this is where we love, this is where we belong, and this is where we want to stay for a very long time. As custodian that I am right now, we have to make sure that every new body, new talent starts coming in, they grow the right way. And they remain and understand that, okay, as far as you want to make money, these are the things you should know that will keep you at the long run.
That's right.
So I didn't get the credit for it, for anything I did in it, even if today's record was what I did. There was no
engineer, you know.
And I remember
credits,
that time.
I remember that time.
At the time that I was almost leaving, that was where I started building my confidence that I need to stay away. That was when I met a young boy called Dele Basil, now popularly called Del B. I remember that year. Paul would come and meet me in the studio. Kesolo, I don't want to see anybody in the studio. If it's not you, who's this guy? Get out of my studio. He will pursue Dele.
Del B, shout out to Del B.
He will chase Dele away. And in my head, I say, this I don't know, me I won't go. Now Del B, I won't leave for a year.
Yes.
And he didn't know. But Eric knew. But, outside music, some of us grew up in a military way and grew up with, as in Yoruba, they call it with an adult, agba. So we know how to do some things, He didn't know that was what I was pushing towards. So I would get just my own production jobs that would come, and we had a timetable on the wall where we write the name of the artist that is working, the producer and all that. So I was putting Del B's name as the engineer every time. So Del B had to always remain in the studio with me every time to learn. I actually literally trained him how to use the reason. We had to, he was always with me in the studio before I left. You see, when I now left, it was Del B that I left playgrounds in his hand.
And I met Del B also in that studio.
You get, Del B has his own passion of what he experienced. I'm sure that actually helped him too.
Oh, absolutely.
To grow.
Absolutely.
Because Paul's place was actually a workshop.
Everybody was there.
It was a workshop that you have one or two things to pick and grow from. I worked on a lot of artists at that point. It was there that I produced Momaji. And at the point, I was doing a lot of jobs that, it was from Paul's place that I met Steve Babeko. Because, a lot of jobs will come to Paul. I'll probably be the one, I'll be the one at the end of the day to do the job. And I don't get paid for it. So for people that are coming and they rip me, if I shout ripping at that year. But in the real sense of it, it was love. I saw it as a training ground for me to learn, to be who I am today. And I do not see it as a hurt again. I never even saw it as a hurt. I saw it as what actually grew me and made me who I am today. And trust me, till when I will die, I'll forever love Paul Play.
Nice one.
Because, he, even though he was trying to be rigid in showing a lot of stuff, but he saw me as a realist person, and he showed a whole lot to me. Paul wants to work in the studio. Like around 7 p.m. he's coming to the studio. He knows where the file is. So, hello, Alpha, where you there? That file of that song we record that day, what's the name of it? I say, is this so file? I can't find it.
Then you must show.
Bro, from where I am, I will blaze by, bam, to the studio, In the process of that place again, I met Soneji too, Soneji loved the R&B album that I did for Paul Play, and he did an R&B album to call Off the Hook, where you had the likes of Abosede, and all that. So I did an R&B album for him too as well.
Wow.
So
man, there's a lot of
sweet.
There are so many things to recollect, man. But we don't have all the time, bro. But it's so interesting to hear all the stories, man. So interesting.
It's so much, but like I said, to round up, I want a lot of Nigerian artists and creatives listening to build events. I have memorable events, sweet events you can remember, not anarchies, backbites, fights and all that. We don't need it because in the real sense of it,
love wins.
Yes, there's a long time people were having a quarrel with Pasuma and Saheed Osupa. They are best of friends, right now. So imagine they've gone extra miles. How would there be an opportunity to actually find yourself in that bond again? So same thing with Paul Play. Like I said, I love him forever. I love Timaya too forever. And people that are feeling that we have issues, we do not have any issue. The last time we saw him, remember that I think I collected 2 bills of 100 bills, 100,000.
Nice.
He gave it to my wife.
Wow.
I remember that day, the last time we still saw, but he checks up on me regular. Sometimes, where you did now? Where you did? The mainland, the island, where you come now, like that. So a lot of people do not know. And because we grew in a terrestrial way, we're not used to always showing off. I've seen
on social media.
I've seen people that will just do video with me, and in less than 3 minutes, they made a screenshot of us when we are doing a video call, and they posted. It's nice to come to the OG. I had nice time on the OG. I'm like, hey, We just had the personal calls.
Well,
but why are you doing that? You know, so we were
that's
not,
the new way.
we were not grooming that way.
That's the new way.
Whereby today, the producers they see as number one. Imagine somebody going online and saying that a mastercraft that I trained, that went through my tutelage, and be comparing us. I'm saying that which case where mastercraft is, and I laugh. And the same time mastercraft that, you know, every time, Baba, Alpha, how can I do this? How can I do this? Imagine if I was that new way that you talked about, maybe I would have been screenshotting and be posting up. Mastercraft just called me. We just had a call. He had an issue with an artist. He needed his royalty to be paid. He needed to be, you know. Recently, I'm inducted into the members of the Grammy 2023. You know, and I slot in a lot of people. I actually recommended Mastercraft to as one. You understand? So that's what it is. That's how it should be. So for everybody that's passed through me, know that I have influenced their lives positively, and that is the what I need every other person listening to this to do.
Man, this is fantastic, man. Thank you so much, my brother, man, for coming and sharing with us these wonderful stories. There's so many interesting part of this story.
Oh, it's long.
I'm sure we are here till tonight. We are still going to continue with different stories, man. Thank you so much, man. We really appreciate you.
The pleasure is all mine. I am happy being here. You know, at times you just want to say this.
Yeah.
You know, it's always sweeter when I say it on this kind of platforms than by just typing it or going on a live on your page and it seems like you're ranting. People don't get the ideas. You know, but at the end of the day, the reason for this is just for us to have fun and remember the old good days.
Which is very important.
Very, very
People just need to know what happened before now. Yeah, thank you so much.
So if you're experiencing such as well, it's not for you to pick up issues about it. Know that it's a passing phase for you.
It's a process. It's part of the process.
Yes, so
it's part of the process. Thank you so much, my brother, man.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much. All right, that's the end of today's edition with K Solo. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.